God. Quite beautiful, dude. Thank you. What is foremost on your heart that you'd like us to cover today in our talk?
Something about memory. Imagination. Divine timing.
Hold it. What'd you say?
Prudence.
Dear Prudence.
Removing fear.
What did you say earlier over there?
The void.
Good. Okay. Quite a variety of topics as usual. It's great. The whole world is going through a dark night of the world. You know, all human beings go through what we call the dark night of the soul. You know that I've written a book on that. It's just so essential to understand so that we don't think that life is just natural cycles, that things just happen, which thinking that way actually keeps you as a victim on the planet. Even if you're not thinking that you're a victim, you are thinking if you think things just randomly happen. You know, as they say, they happen for us, not to us, these events. And the dark night of the soul isn't the dark night done to your soul. The dark night of the soul is the dark night coming from your soul. Your soul, a couple of times per lifetime or more, says, you know, we really need to do a house cleaning. We always, daily, one apostle says, I die daily. We always have these cycles within cycles. Healings, nurturings, you know, processes, clearings, you know, stuff just kind of clearing and moving us upward on the level of consciousness. But the soul every so often goes, hey, you've been doing great, you know, little lessons here and there every day, you know, little bits and pieces. But I'm just in the mood to just hit you from all sides. And it keeps a record of everything we haven't cleared quite well, you know. And it picks up all these pieces. Is a piece of that relationship, you know, you healed it 80%, but I found 20%. And you have your father stuff, you've been doing good in your home, you know, family of origin work. But there's 15%. And then there's this 5% issue with prosperity. And then there's that old job, 3%. And it collects all these and then says, buckle up. You know, this is going to be literally a hell of a year. That's called the dark night of this. It's the dark night of your soul. And remember, it's not when something's going wrong. It's not a bad weekend. It's not a hangover. It's when you wish you had a hangover. It's when you wish. It's not when you're dying. It's when you wish you were dead. I mean, the dark night is heavy stuff. And we're going through a dark night of the planet. We are. And there's stages, natural stages. If human beings could just get a clue, we would handle these things better. As soon as you're going through a dismantling, this is in that book I wrote, you're not going crazy, you're actually just waking up. Because when you go through a dismantling, like right now, if you haven't noticed, there's a great emptiness. And I can tell you it's an emptiness because it's a psychological pit. Suicides are up. Death, even people that were just not even sick are getting sick and dying overnight. I'm telling you, that's coming from a hopelessness. Because people are in the emptiness stage. Out of 5 stages of the dark night, the second stage, there's dismantling, you lost a job. That's not the dark night. When you have a change, a loss of a relationship, loss of a job, it is called a dismantling. That which I thought was, isn't. Okay? Even when you thought you were healthy and now you're sick, that's a form of dismantling. After every dismantling comes emptiness. But if we're doing a global dismantling, which we did with COVID, but also with 9/11 and other things that have been building. Now we're going through the emptiness stage where there's a hopelessness. We really, really have to watch each other's back during this particular time. Don't assume that, the new normal. Normal wasn't good. The new normal isn't going to be any better because it's created by the same crazy people. We're waiting for government, religion, and, such science to tell us what the new normal is. But they don't know either. So they try to use distracting things to give you, something to think about. Oh, that's it. Oh, I see. So that's the problem. You've got politicians more than ever in history projecting onto each other to deflect their own stuff. It's very crazy. But if you're a mystic, you see through it and you don't get caught up in it. If you're getting caught up in it, you're lacking your inner mystic. That's for sure. So one of you brought up the word void. When you go through the dismantling comes the emptiness, which is like a void, a terrifying emptiness, deeper than just like intellectual emptiness. And one of you brought up imagination. Imagination is what you're going to need to create the new normal, but not the new norm that we're used to creating. Because if you're screwed up in the head, you can't create much of a better new anything. So we need more connection with God to create a truly new normal. Okay? And one of you brought up fear. This is a terrifying time, this dismantling period. And so what can we count on? What are we gonna fall back on? Everybody's in the emptiness. The next stage is disorientation, which some of us are already into, and just one toe, and we're going, I can't wait to get out of this emptiness. Oh, wait, disorientation. No, I'll just go back to emptiness. But the soul is going, come on. The train's leaving the station. You're getting on it. You only get to decide if you're going to do that, walking or screaming and being dragged. That's the only difference. You get it the easy way or the hard way. It's not like you can go, I think I'll skip the next stage. It's the stage created by us. You can't escape you. So, disorientation comes next. Dismantling, emptiness, disorientation. Only then can you cross over the bridge of truth, of faith, of trust into recreating a new life, the next two stages. But I can't go launching into, guess what? Let's recreate a new life. We have to still talk about the mental illness of our psyche that keeps miscreating the old world. We have to address that a little. Otherwise, it's called spiritual bypassing. Hey, listen, everybody, I know the world's going through hell, but let's just put on rose-colored glasses and chant. Oh, mani padme, me. Like, oh, poor is me kind of a thing. No. We have to really sit with this and look at it differently. Taking responsibility. We are going through a dismantling. I get it. Do I want that to be just a 10% dismantling? Trust me, that's what most prayers are. It might look like we're surrendering to the Lord, but what we're saying is, listen, God, I think you should scale it back a bit. Let's only dismantle 10%. Because I think I can handle that, which really means I want to be in control. Ego, I, wants to be in control. So 10%'s enough. But your soul, if you're going through a 60%, it's because your soul decided that. We're not a victim of it. Does it hurt? Yes, but why did we end up there? Because our soul said enough is enough. Crazy people. This is what the soul's saying. Look, enough is enough. We're going home. And we're like, oh, heaven on earth, oh, money, peace. And we're using all the mantras and yantras and whatever else. But as soon as it starts changing and we're like, give us back our reality, former realities, our illusions, let us live in the limited lifestyle. It's strange. We're asking for one thing and complaining when it happens. The dismantling is coming because rarely has the world gone through a global dark night, a dark night of the planet. That's not that common. A nation can go through it. which happens once in a while. We go through it, fairly regularly. A bigger space, a nation, less commonly. The planet, when was the last one? It's not that common. But we can call it COVID, and those are symptoms of a cleansing. You can't ascend with non-ascended consciousness. So what are we going to do with the non-ascended consciousness? Purge it out. How? Have all our stuff come up that isn't God. And then do what with it? Shame it, blame it on each other. Then the planet's going to blow up and you'll have to come back as a cockroach on Mars to start your evolution again. I mean, how many millions of years it's going to take for you to sprout, like a thought? You'll just be crawling around and eventually, how did I get here? Do you want to do that? Well, no. But is that the direction humanity is going? Yes. Will they continue that way? No. Because it is God's will that no soul shall perish or become cockroaches on Mars. It is God's will that we wake up. Okay? It is God's will. And God's got a pretty powerful will. So God is saying, hey, you guys can think whatever you want. You're thinking you're in this moment. You're thinking you're here and you're going through something. This is partly what Jesus was saying to the apostles. You're all going to go through fear and you're all going to go through doubt, he says. And I'm paraphrasing only slightly. He says to them, but I'm already seeing you at the end of the story. See, I'm not seeing you as problematic. I'm seeing you at the end of the story, which is an immaculate concept of your child or your creations. So we can look at each other and go, you're nothing but a problem, but then that means you've jailed me and yourself. Because if I'm judged, I have to have a judger with me in prison, right? By your judgments, you are judged. So you're stuck with me when you find fault with me. That doesn't mean we're wrong for sometimes going, well, I don't like that you did this or that. That's okay. Seeing you don't want something in your life is different than hating or judging or resenting or holding grievances. So at the end of the day, we're going through our own, technically you could say the dark night of the soul is like going through hell, which is why it's often accompanied with a Saturn return, Saturn being the planetary version of Satan. Satan. Saturn brings back your stuff to work through the way Satan punishes you in hell for your stuff. Well, Saturn just goes, well, let's not wait. Why wait for hell? Let's just do it now. So Saturn helps us purge the stuff while we're here because it's a very natural thing. Our soul doesn't want to continue doing what we've been doing for yet another X number of lifetimes. Buddha brought that to us by saying, no, we don't have to continue evolutionary cycles till the end of time, which was the previous tradition or religion beliefs. And he says, no, I don't agree with that. So even though many love him today, they didn't like him that much at the time. Many who were in authority and religious powers, they didn't like it because he said, this isn't the way it's going to work anymore. We can wake up now. Jesus then shows up and does it from birth to death, holding that consciousness. Where Buddha woke up eventually at a certain part of his life, Jesus had to come and do it from birth to death, ending with his last words, it is accomplished. Meaning it's now been done perfectly. And if it's been done in me and we're all connected, technically, it's been done in everyone. So all of us at the end of the story is we're home. But we're still wearing a virtual reality headdress thing, glasses, whatever, headset, and we're seeing what would have happened if we were still on Earth. We're only seeing what would have happened. So it's like, well, wait, you take these off and it's like, oh, we're home. Put these back on and, oh, I'm still dating you? Like, what? Oh God. Oh, geez Louise. Oh, another lifetime. That's what it is. Which is why great mystics, even like Rumi said, laughter. There's all this hidden laughter behind it all because it is ridiculous. if you really see it. But when the headset is on, nothing, it's not funny at all. The things we've done to each other or continue to do, or the things we do to ourselves. You know, they say numbers don't lie, which is a lie, by the way. Because anything you can perceive with your senses, your eyes, your ears, counting, 1, 2. So 1 + 1 is 2, 2 + 2 is 4. What am I going to say next? See, that's not correct. Numbers lie. Because free will can make me go, and 3 + 8. Not 4 + 4, not 8, you know. It's this concept that we're even mathematically, we break free. We break free from this structure that was common thinking. This always results in that. 1 + 1 is always 2, and only men and women should be married, and all kinds of opinions that were once facts, and none of them were true. So all of a sudden you start to see, you know, like even science is saying something really strange has happened recently in science, which doesn't matter to me because I already said this decades ago. But it goes like this. In quantum physics years ago, they said, you know, we believe that this happened where there's a Big Bang that took place. Well, the Big Bang is nothing, and if you change the name of it to something else, I don't care. The Big Bang is nothing but the manifestation of the moment where the children of God, who were in the absolute presence of love, bliss, joy of God, suddenly said, what would life be like if we weren't in God? Now, an explosion took place called the Big Bang, where we flew into a universe that was now being formed. But it actually is an implosion in your mind. It wasn't an explosion in the universe. Things are opposite from what we've been taught. Why? Because the people trying to figure them out are nuts. So they naturally teach everything as opposite of what's true because they're reaching. And I understand. It's called desperation. Okay, there's a Big Bang, and we don't know why it took place, but there's no such thing as God. It's just a matter of fusion of forces and chemicals that happen to mix up a certain way, and the Big Bang took place, like TNT blew up, you know, with no consciousness behind it. And that's true, by the way. There was no consciousness behind it. We actually gave up our consciousness to experience the Big Bang and come here and think we're growing. How can perfection grow? So we gave up who we really are, and an implosion took place. But we'll pretend the Big Bang, and it's called the expanding universe. So in quantum physics years ago, they said, wait a minute, if an explosion took place, what's causing the universe to expand? The force of the explosion, which eventually will die down. And when it dies down, another universal law will kick in called gravity, where all of it will contract back together again. And in quantum physics, they actually say it this way, and everything that was will cease to be and be as though it never was. A perfect description of A Course in Miracles concept of the illusion. One day, this expanding universe and everything you ever experienced, every job, every relationship, every annoyance, every illness, every lifetime, will contract and be as though it never was. But what's interesting to me is that science, some scientists are saying there's something disturbing happening. The universe mathematically is not expanding anymore. Why would that be? Because the children of God who thought to separate stopped separating. You like that? See, it's a symbol of something. When science is, scratching their head trying to figure it out, looking like the missing link that they're looking for, it stopped. That's a good news. It's called a still point before the contraction starts. Now, don't get me wrong. The contraction isn't going to be like, where everything's just, and we all blast into each other and everything. It's not going to be like that. But it will seem like that, meaning our lives seemed like we were going through normal, the old norm, and now it's stopped. And stopped means emptiness and disorientation. The only way this can happen, and by the way, this is called our return to oneness, God. The only way this can happen is with our permission. So we can go, no, keep the brakes on, keep the brakes on. You know, and you'll feel this contracting sensation. But what is that sensation? It's moments of you and I getting along. Psychologically, it's where I start to think beyond myself. I got something happening. What's going on? Are you okay? Yeah, symptoms of oneness. It's the weirdest thing. I'm starting to think for other people and their wellness instead of just myself. Be careful, I've heard about that. It happens in cults, you know. You must be part of a cult. So it gets very scary because what I knew to be is in a still point and I don't know anymore. And listen to me, that's a good statement. I don't know. See, the ego's going, what do you mean you don't know? You must know. You have to be in control. I don't know. I don't know. Who are you? I don't know. Are you a male or a female? I don't know. Well, come on. Because they'll lock you up for not knowing. They will. You'll get ridiculed and, you know, whatever else. I don't know. Mom, Dad, I don't know. What do you want to be when you grow up? I don't know. Oh, you're no son of mine. No daughter of mine. You know, we have 5 generations of accountants or shoe cobblers or whatever. You know, I'm old, huh? Shoe cobblers. I'm sorry. You know, IBM techs or whatever. You know, we have 5 generations and your response could be, yeah, but you all are miserable. Call me silly, call me progressive, but I was just thinking maybe I'll try a different career. You know, break this pattern of misery. So we got to realize everything's backwards. Here's another example of backwards. The Gospel of Philip, it's one of the lost books of the Bible. The Gospel of Philip, here's what he says. He says, people think, and it's true, Jesus died and was resurrected. Literally, chronologically, is that the way it happened? Yes, right? Right? He died, was crucified, died, and then he resurrected, correct? Philip points out, because Philip was one of those that started accessing his Christ consciousness, he said, no, wait. People don't realize Jesus had to have been resurrected before he died. Meaning, you had to have been in a heightened state of consciousness to resurrect. We think you died and then resurrected. If you resurrected after you died, you couldn't have resurrected. You had to have been of the consciousness to be able to die and resurrect. See? A backflip of sorts. And there's all kinds of things like that. There's deeper teachings to everything, deeper meanings, deeper processes. We're not just going through an average such and such. We're not just going through another election or another whatever else. The world as we know it is dying. It's ending. And that's actually good news. It's annoying. It's inconvenient. It's scary. But what's the alternative? Keeping illusions alive? Try it. Try and say, I don't know. Who are you voting for? I don't know. What are you, Republican, Democrat? I don't know. And you'll get ridiculed for even that. But I'm staying in the still point. The in-between space between emptying my cup and having my cup refilled, not by me, not by government or science or religion, but by God. What's that going to look like? I don't know. And it's good that I don't know, because the more I can say I don't know, I'm surrendering to that which does, which is God. The more I say, oh, I've got it all figured out. I'm dying of the old and I know exactly what I want for the new, which is the concept of law of attraction to a degree. But you do not, trust me, you do not want to recreate a new life with the same mind that ruined the last one. You don't want your ego controlling your newness again. Try the I don't know. Try that level of humility. You're going to be covered. You're going to be taken care of. So when we go through this, we're returning to oneness. We're returning to God. And that's good news. But that return to oneness, we go through stages, like with all things. First of all, there's 3 versions of oneness. Let's understand that. There's the human version, which is the lower 3 chakras from that vantage point, the heart version, and then God's version. And they're completely different. So there's people talking about, like the human version would be like, we're one family, we're one race, we're one nation under God. That's, one team. Those are all human fabrications of oneness. They're very limited compared to God's. Right? You agree? So there's my ideas of oneness, and they just don't work. Communes, communities, they sound like, we're all going to live one, and we're going to be like one. Even Yogananda's community ended up suing each other. I mean, if his folks end up suing each other, how promising is it for other people to pull off such a thing? Oneness, to talk it is one thing. To do it is another. So the human versions of oneness, I don't bother with it, right? The heart version of oneness is sweet because it gets us to a place of, I'm starting to feel not just love, oneness with my partner, I'm feeling unconditional love for all. That's clearly an advancement. That's clearly moving to other levels. All of a sudden now I'm realizing that all of humanity is connected. It's very cool. God's oneness is unspeakable. The human mind can't speak the words, can't know the words to speak. God's version of oneness is why we're saying, I give up my human version and I attain the heart level of oneness. But am I willing to give up what I think is the highest level of oneness for yet another one that I know nothing about? See? And my answer would be I am, which is important, 2 words. I am. So we get to this place of saying, people talking oneness. And all they're doing is talking. Almost everybody that talks oneness is just talking. They're just talking theory because they don't know. Well, oneness is this and oneness, it's just like, stop talking to me. Because it's not real. It's not true. I can see through that. I hope you can too. But I know that there's there's God's version, there's my heart's version, and there's a human version. I'm glad that those who talk it are moving from the human version to attempting the heart's version. But to portray themselves as getting God's version, I already know they can't because it's unspeakable. Only God can reveal it, and when it does, it becomes a feeling, not a thought, not a thing, not a word. Is that making sense? All right. So there's stages to our return to oneness. And I use that 3 all the time. There's natural stages. The first stage is what we call duality. So to get to oneness, I have duality. Oh my God, this Republican, Democrat, male, female, this, all that, whether it's race or gender, generational gaps, those are all duality. There's a point where I let go of ego perspective, ego titles, descriptions, definitions, to the heart. To the heart. And in the heart, I get to a place of non-duality. And the people that are into non-duality are usually theorizing and talking about it, don't get it. But they've tasted it, so they're excited, so they talk a lot about it. Oh man, I'm just non-dual. I see that you're still dual. Now they've made it a religion and a thing to vote for, a very human, and now it's dropped to a lower level again. But let's assume some got it right. Non-dual. But what does that mean? It means I've gone from the place of getting into this and that. I can't talk about stuff anymore. I'm getting to where just centered and feeling. That's pretty cool. Non-dual. But that's not the end. Non-dual shifts then to oneness. You don't just go dual to non-dual. You go dual to non-dual to oneness. Non-dual is still anti-dual to a degree. I mentioned that briefly last week, or within the last couple of weeks. But that's what we're looking for, oneness. The human race is trying to get home, which means to oneness. which means you got to tie together the concepts of the dark night of the planet with the process of duality to oneness. They go hand in hand. They overlay each other, which means if we agree that we're going through a dark night of the planet, we're also agreeing that we're going home and returning to oneness, which would mean we're all going to need to let go of duality. So duality needs to prove to you that it doesn't exist, that it's an illusion, that it's worthless or valueless. How? By realizing no politics are working. That no human mind can fix this because it's the human/ego mind that did this. We need to call upon a higher power, which is one, the oneness of God. Thank God the Israelites with their major statement, the number one rule in the universe is the Lord thy God is one, which is also saying if you want to get home, but also if you want to get out of your problems, get to the oneness. Okay, am I there yet? No, you have to actually purge out the duality and then get over the arrogance of thinking you're non-dual and back to God. That was a nice addition, wasn't it? And this is not unlike, getting to this, like the non-dual goes, and now I'm getting to the third stage, the stage of oneness. That's not unlike a near-death experience. And watch this carefully. So if I were to do this right now on stage, I go duality to non-dual, oneness. And I'm having like one of those visions, near-death experience where they go, I became one with everything. Isn't that kind of cool? Have you ever heard that, seen that, experienced that? It's like this moment in a meditation where, some of you, it's, it happened in a dream. For others, it's ayahuasca. For another, LSD. Some people it happened in different forms for different people, but some are more real than others. Some are synthetic versions. But either way, you had some insight of a sense of oneness, which is really cool. How is that not cool to go, guess what? I had something happen last night. It's almost like near death. I felt one with all things. It's pretty profound, isn't it? But it's also one of those things that's backwards. So everybody's trying to achieve this. I feel one with all, like the Buddhist that asked for a pizza, make me one with everything. It's an old joke. You have to be old to get that, okay? But this idea, you're trying to become one with everything. But listen, everything is actually one with you. You're not needing to become one with everything. You created everything. So, ironically, we're thinking the goal is to become one with everything, when in fact, the goal is everything's becoming one with me. The universe that's expanding is an implosion in my mind. It didn't actually expand because that would imply that it's a thing that became. It actually went in reverse as an implosion, like a mental virus. And it was taken over by the ego to run and control that virus. And at some point, I need the cure for the virus, which is the Holy Spirit, the Divine Mother. Hey, Mother, guess what? I ate something that was not good for me, and the Mother's going to take care of you. I bit into something that looked sweet, but it turned sour in my stomach, which is a Revelation reference. I saw this, and this was eaten, and it looked and seemed sweet at the time, but it turned sour in the stomach. Meaning, our world that we've created looks like it offers something, but it ends up turning sour in the stomach, which is a symbol of a place where we digest life's experiences, right? Where we digest our life's experiences. Something's turned sour. Well, in a sense, all of this has turned sour. And the Holy Spirit, the Mother, is going to say, I can help you. She puts her hand on your stomach, it already feels a little better. She gives you a little something, a spiritual concoction of some kind, and it helps us release this thing called a virus. But the virus, in a sense, is like a fever. A fever does feel uncomfortable, but it breaks. And that's kind of what we're going through. The fever is like the heart chakra part. The virus itself is the human experience. The fever is when we get to our heart and say, enough is enough, man. Love comes first. Resentment's got to go. That's when you're starting to really fever out, man. You're starting to burn up because a fever is purging. A fever is heating your system so you can actually bake away a virus. The fever is trying to bake away, cook away a virus. Most of you would know that, right? But when it breaks, I go into this oneness. You know, I remember having a fever when I was around 8 years old or so. And I remember laying on the couch in our living room, and I just started seeing things. I started seeing beings walking through the backyard, and mom, there's, you know, and just tripped out into some, you know, experience. And I remember my mom had a friend over, and the friend goes, "I'm getting out of here." You know, she's like, whatever he's got, I don't want it, you know. So this new normal, you got to have the fever. It's got to bake away the past. It does seem uncomfortable, and it is uncomfortable. And some people don't survive the fever. Meaning sometimes you have to let go of this particular body so that you can come back fresh. Sometimes this body cannot handle your new frequency. You have such awakening that the body's like, "You're kidding me. Come on. I kept up with you when you went vegan. I kept up with you when you were a meat eater. I kept up with you when you became a fruitarian. You know, I kept up with you through all and now you're doing this, whoa, you know, no, man, you know, I'm bailing, man. You know, eject, boom, you know, out of the body, you know, come back and try it another way, you know. Sometimes that's the only way. And right now, that's happening a lot on this planet, where people are bailing. That is part of the ascension process, believe it or not. And it's true that some souls that have sensed this is as much as I'm going to get in this body, and they're saying, that's unacceptable. I will not let this body keep my consciousness contained to its vibration. I'm going higher. If the body can't handle it, let it go, because I'm free. Okay? That's not easy to remember when you've lost a loved one, but try to remember that. Try to remember that free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, I am free at last. Right? They're not in the pain. Even if they didn't look like they were in pain. I'm telling you, every person's body is in pain, just not always knowing it. We're in pain because we're not in Kansas anymore, Toto. We had oneness with God, and now we're stuck in these meat suits, and we zipped them up, and we go, wow, look at me. You know, for like a day and a half. Well, I'm looking kind of nice. And I don't mind being in this incarnation, and then this starts happening, you know. And it's like, oh, I need a new body, and I need a new life, and Jesus, please take away my wrinkles. And Jesus is like, I don't see wrinkles. You need a mind change, you know, not a body change or whatever. So these things that we believed in are all flip-flop. They're all backwards. And so even the universe, that's startling to me, that any one, let alone group of scientists can say, we think we're seeing evidence of the universe not expanding anymore. And I'm like, well, yeah, duh. It had to stop eventually. So now how long is it going to take for the contraction, I wonder? And we all ask, how long is that going to take? Jesus says in A Course in Miracles, in his ever so depressing way, well, if it took, let's say, 1 billion years, just using a round number, 1 billion years for it to expand, and the contraction starts today, technically, he says, technically, it should take 1 billion years. God, you're kidding me. You're kidding. That's why everybody's dying. They're leaving their body, because that news of that is so shocking. But he says, no, but time's an illusion. Oh, he had to slip that in there. He has to mess with us for a minute. Well, it should take 1 billion years. We're all like, I just was dismantled again. Now I'm feeling empty again. I can't believe it. You're kidding me. 1 billion years? Yeah, but guess what? Time's an illusion. So 1 billion years, a day and a half, it's all the same. Oh, you got us on that one, you know. So the truth is, he's saying it's up to you. How well can you handle the still point where you don't know? Try to be control freaks, and now the brakes are on, and you've wasted time, and the vehicle's not going anywhere. Let go of the brakes, even if it means off the cliff, into the abyss, into the void. Can you do that? You say, can you do that? One of my strangest and greatest moments at the same time is that kind of a concept, where I remember in various lifetimes, but a vision in this lifetime a couple times, but in lifetimes where it was like that, where it was like, can you trust me? Well, yes, that's easily said. Can you trust me? Fall. Fall. Let me see you fall into my arms. This is Arizona, man. That's the Grand Canyon. What do you mean fall? And I'm not encouraging anybody actually doing this. I'm saying the metaphor. The metaphor. See, one time I did a mastery seminar. I did it many, many years at my retreat. But one of these times, we had this tall ladder. And one of the exercises was to fall backwards into the arms of everybody catching you. There is a possibility they can't. They won't, that they mess up. There's a possibility. But we do it, and I'm asking, guiding each person, okay, ready? When you say ready, you say ready, and then we'll catch you. Boom. Oh, and there's tears, and there's anxiety, and, all that kind of stuff. This is probably 15, 20 years ago. And we're leaving. And somebody goes, well, why don't you do it? And I'm like, yeah. What? Why don't you do it? And they're just being friendly, like, well, yeah. I don't have time to be afraid. I don't have time to think twice. I have to say yes. Climb up the ladder, don't think, to the top. And I just jokel the top. They're like, okay, say when you're ready. I'm not going to even, not only did I fall, I launched. Boom! They caught me. I said, okay. And they're like, yeah, wow, oh my God. And I'm like, dum, 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 dum. Nobody could see what was happening inside. I'm like, bloody hell. Oh my God. That was so high up. The hang time I could swear it was 4.5 minutes. But on the outside, yeah, what? We're good. And that is exactly what you should do. Don't shame yourself for having the fear. Feel the fear and do it anyway. So I did exactly what I should be doing. Not pretending I don't have the fear. And we shouldn't pretend that we're not afraid of this vulnerable, what is the new, the real new? I don't know. Have this word, this phrase, but I'm willing to find out. That's courage. I'm willing to find out. To be like a President Lincoln who says, half the nation's going to hate me, but we're going to end slavery. And a war, and it's your fault, and they're finger pointing, and the news columns all the time, and the little sketches that they do, and the comedy things, making him look terrible. But he just stuck to his guns. Can we do that? Can you get to the top of the ladder and just launch? And one of the things from that message, that point is, how much do you want your ego to think and trigger you? I went before I allow any such nonsense. What's the worst thing that could happen? The group could have collectively went, sneezed, boom, on the ground. But I would have died, and I would have on the other side gone, I died in a state of trust, which means I'm ascending. See, I refuse to accept failure. I turn that into an ascension, if that's what's going to happen. But the same has to happen, guys, in romance, friendship. Can you trust? Well, no, because friends have burned me. In what way? Well, they've never, ever pulled through for me on any topic. No friend ever? None. So what are you doing today? Well, I was going to go and get something to eat. Okay. Has a friend ever paid the bill for your food? No. Let's go. I'm taking you. We're getting lunch. I give you lunch. I pay for it. Now you can't say that ever again. But we also started a new normal. You trusted. Now, there was a chance that I ordered this huge meal, whatever you people eat, for lunch, a big course of food, and then out the door, and ditch you with the food and the bill. Because people you think have done that to you before, and I'm sorry that they did. Are you willing to trust and jump off of that ladder and be caught? Can you let me help you? Me being any of us, right? Can you trust me to be on time to take you to the doctor? Can you, whatever it is, let me show you somebody who's true to their word. And when they can't be true to their word, they apologize because you come first. Is that all making sense? Live dangerously in a good way. All the words mean nothing to me. The oneness and non-dual, and it's all hokey, man. It's just the people talking it. It's another to live it, to be it, to step into it and really get it, and laugh at the human versions. Oh man, I'm just all into oneness, and really, yeah, I'm so unattached to this world. I'm barely here at all. Really. So when you get paid this week at work, hand me your check. Because you're so non-physical, you won't be needing the funds, right? All these people that write books about just be in the now and just be in the moment, the oneness. Trust me, they're cashing checks for those books. So you can preach it, but remember the saying I've made up many years ago. Know the truth, but respect the illusion. Know that you are in the hands of God, but you know what? Or as they say in Islam, trust in Allah, but tie up your camel. Right? Take care. I know you're all one and ascending, but you know what? Pick up the kids on time at school. You still have them. Oh, that's right. Be in your body. Respect the illusion. Respect the illusion. We'll love you for it. I know it's going to be a little scary, and it seems like spiritual failure when the illusion still got me today. No, you know what? Sometimes it's fine. We want you to believe in the illusion of deodorant. We want you to do that. We really do. And so on and so on. Other illusions. Know the truth, but respect the illusion. Take care of yourselves on a 3-dimensional level. Get a massage when you need a massage. Don't, beyond that. Just take a breath. Before you think about canceling it because you're so cosmic, just do it. Take care of yourself. You're not beyond seeing a counselor if you're in a couple's relationship. Sometimes, man, that third party, objective person feedback is healthy. You're not beyond it. Just try it out. Try out those things if, in fact, there are signs and symptoms of needing those things. I don't care if it's an aspirin for a headache or an herbal poultice on your tummy. If that's where your belief is at, honor it and get these things done because it's a sign of you taking care of yourself. Please take a few centering breaths. The one word one of you brought up, remembering. The word remember means to reassemble. The membered parts, your members, your parts. Remembering means to bring back together yourself. The dismembered parts, but it isn't body parts per se. To remember means to bring back together your true self. It starts with remembering trauma and healing it. Remembering limiting belief systems and surrendering them. Bringing in the dismembered parts is sometimes gruesome at first. Parts of your body that you dissociated from, parts of the body that are numb and not working properly, glands that are frozen to where you still have a 10-year-old's thymus, a 5-year-old's adrenals. They were stunted. Remembering means I'm here. You can all come to age now. No, but we're afraid. You taught us yes, I know, and I'm sorry about that. But mom's here now, dad's here now, and we're safe. And if there were any doubt at all, God is with us. And if God's with us, what could be against us? So come out wherever you are. Inner child, girl, boy, come out. Remembering the dismembered parts. And it goes from literally body parts, glands, organs, to emotional dissociations, traumas. Bringing it all here, not to re-trigger us. They're being brought here to be seen and released. I will not try to cope or heal alone. Mother, Holy Spirit of God, I'm very clear that I am going to need your help with this. Be with me. Be with me. Hear the chant gently inside. Divine Mother, be with me now. Chant it every 3 seconds or every 30 seconds. However often it feels appropriate for you. Let it be a smooth tide coming in and flowing out. The statement and then the incoming results. Be with me here, be with me now. And then watch the effects. In this state, I need do nothing. And the Mother is washing us clean and clear of negatives, past negatives, washing us clear of past programs and experiences, limiting belief systems. Whether you visualize being at the edge of a lake, a stream, or the ocean, step in. Step in. Submerge. Symbolic of going into the depths of your being. You're completely underwater. When you come out again, which is a statement with many layers, when you come out, and don't do it yet, hold your breath. Feel the desire to breathe. And I don't mean literally in the room. Imagine holding your breath. You're underwater, but you can sense you're going to need to breathe again soon, but not yet. You're underwater. Shake a little while you're underwater. Shake off the past. All your cells of your body are shaking off, and the water's taking them away. And you can feel the desire to breathe again. But when you come out of the water, there'll be a big breath of newness. You will not be the old self. You will be a healthy God goddess. Imagine that your life is waiting for that. Your inner children, males, females, are looking for such a thing. ready for a breath. I'm ready. I'm ready. 2. The world is waiting. It's waiting. 1. Out. A big breath, everyone. Big breath. Open your heart. Fresh breath. The sun beating down. The water being just the right temperature. The sunshine, the warmth. Nature. The trees. Look over to the shoreline. There's animals standing on the shoreline waiting for this. In anticipation. A child of God is being born again. To them, it's a sacred event. Visualize yourself dancing on the shore. Dancing, moving spontaneously. Dancing, twirling. Some of the animals are bowing to you. Some are dancing with you. Up above, birds are soaring around in circles, honoring the space that you're standing in. I'm here. I'm home. I'm me. are talking. They're saying, guess what just happened? And then the planet is not a thing that we become one with. It's becoming one with us because we're going into the Christ or God's self. So the planet is rising in consciousness. And the planet sends the signal to the solar system, to the galaxy, to the local area, region of the universe, to all the universe. And the universe hears permission. You can begin the contraction home again. How do you feel? Fantastic, amazing, liberated. Good. That would be the opposite of fear, the void, other words that were brought up earlier. Don't get me wrong, it is awkward, the still point, the I don't know. I knew, I don't know, becomes I know, right? There's the ego version of I know to the I don't know, which is liberating, heart center, to the I know again. But that I know isn't me. That has to be God speaking through me. And it's awkward, that still point. It's awkward. In my life, oh my God, it's so strange sometimes. I can't even find a food that I like. So I just eat the same thing every day. Like I can't bring myself to eating many foods. And I kind of have always been a little like that, but it's even more extreme. I'm like, why? Well, you probably should eat something. Well, why? What? And by the time I get around to it, oh, well, it's already tomorrow. So I'll just eat later today. Food and relations too. I've become clearer even that I don't have any room inside for crap. Sorry. There's no room for arguing or dissension or like let's enjoy or never mind. It's such a strange space. And you might be feeling the same thing. Because globally, we're in a still point where nothing is okay anymore. No bargaining. And I'm grateful because I felt that most of my life and especially the last couple of decades. But I'm noticing it's at another level now. And it's kind of awkward and weird. Like, what is there to do in the nothing? So it's an interesting dance. And remember, dismantling emptiness, disorientation. Most people, when they're disoriented, will go back and try to recreate the new normal themselves, which will then have to be dismantled, empty, disoriented again. I'm like, well, the whole world's coming to an end, and I just wrote another book. Because if you know how to do this right, you will go over the bridge into rebuilding a new life or rewrite a new book or creating a new conference, or finding new friends. You see what I mean by that? The new life. Thank you, dear. The new life. The new life. It's just right there. But not everybody knows how to get to that place. And I can only tell you, chill. When you go into the emptiness, do your inner work. While you're in emptiness, work on emptiness. Work on the darkest parts when you're in the darkness. When you get to disorientation, try to say no to the compulsion to take control of the wheel, the steering. Feel disoriented. It'll be uncomfortable. Just breathe. Breathe through it. And keep saying, only with your guidance. Only, not me. Of myself, I'm nothing. I'm not going to take the wheel. Only with your guidance. Stay truthful to that. Stay vigilant with that. The universe is going to go, are you kidding? You meant that? You really are trusting? Yes. Yeah, but the ego is going to be throwing things in. You got to take control. A new opportunity for another relationship. A new this, a new that, a new job, more money or whatever. Just, bargain yourself again. And you're going to go, it's not there. No capacity for that. It's not there. And then the still point, then what am I going to do? I don't know, but I'm willing to find out. And then the universe has seen you empty and it refills you. A whole new me has awakened. A whole new me is being birthed, resurrected after this crucifixion and death period. So hang in. Okay. Thank you so much. And thank you, John, for the music. Beautiful, as always. The people watching online, it's John Dumas. All right. We're going to take up our collection and do our closing prayer. Please be as generous as you can be. Your donations go in the bags, the blue bags. And the wicker baskets are for any extra donations you can share. We use it for people of lesser means or sometimes special projects. And we appreciate the folks that have stepped up and done the painting of all the rooms and just refreshed everything. Is really, really beautiful. And I want to give thanks to our ongoing groups, like our 12-step groups, Course in Miracles groups and all of them. But those of you who have the courage to get into the 12-step groups of whatever type of 12-step group, we appreciate and we love having them here. We do what we can to support them because of their integrity, their search for self and back to God and so on. So bless you if you're in the groups. And if you're not, you should be. No, it's something to consider for yourself. Anything that steps into a new healthier life, okay? So bless you. So we're going to do our closing, or the prayer, the prosperity prayer. It's on your bulletins, or it's posted online if you don't have it, the bulletin in front of you. Together, please. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. Thank you. A couple of quick announcements, by the way, before the closing prayer. We're going to be doing a 3 Gates to Intimacy workshop sometime in the next few weeks. So if you're interested, keep an eye out for that. I'll facilitate that. In the meantime, we have the new event, the conference, the Daughters of Heaven. The book is out now, as of like a week or so ago, and the conference. If you're not already signed up and you're online or here, you can join the conference online, which is less, you pay less or attend in person. But we're going to have an extraordinary event. It's about 8 or 9 or so weeks away. But join us if you can as soon as possible. And if you're watching online or if you're in the room, remember, even when you're not able to be here in person, watch us, social media. We're on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and whatever else, okay? You can catch us in your third eye as well. If you're interested, some people look for the private sessions I do online. I'm happy to accommodate as often as I can. I do them online. Zoom or phone calls or whatever happens to be. Zoom only if you're out of the country, all right? But otherwise, I still, I do sessions. People ask about it all the time. So pursue that if you like. And remember, we have a healing room here. The yurt here, crystal bed inside. It's extraordinarily powerful. So if you're local living or you happen to be visiting, I would make it a point to check out the crystal bed. Okay? All right. What did you learn or hear today that made the most sense for you?
The story of Jesus.
What?
The story of the crucifixion of Jesus.
The story of the crucifixion. That he had to have been resurrected in consciousness before he died and resurrected, right? Is that the one?
Well,
What's the other one?
the other one where it's complete.
Oh, it is accomplished. It's complete. Yeah, nice.
And he did it, and we were.
Right, right. Very good.
To add on to that, I was going to say the same thing, that Jesus was in the consciousness of ascension before the resurrection. It kind
Right.
of goes with the fake it till you make it. Like,
Right.
to think ourselves there, think
Right.
ourselves to God, we'll be there.
He had to be in the consciousness for that to happen. He didn't get it to happen because after the fact he gained the consciousness. Yes?
You want to say, I don't know?
To learn to say, I don't know. Now, remember, know the truth but respect the illusion, right? It wouldn't be appropriate to say to a beloved, do you love me? I don't know. That might freak them out. But what you could say is, you know what? The old me, I'm not settling for the old version of loving you. I'd like to go to a higher level. Would you like to join me? You see? That's what you could say. It's called being tactful. Anyone else? Yes?
Yeah, the process that we're going through, the dark night of the soul, the dismantling.
The dark night of the soul, the dismantling, all that's happening.
This is for 5.
The, rebuilding a new life.
Okay,
4 is rebuilding, 5 is the new life.
the new life.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Because your rebuilding is a process, the new life is the result. So I split those in 2. Thanks for pointing that. Yeah. Anyone else? Anybody on this side of the room? Yes?
During the meditation, the phrase came to me, I am unleashed.
I am unleashed, the meditation part. Yeah. I'm free. Oh my God. One more. Yes.
In the meditation, it was kind of like those Russian dolls, but
Oh.
everybody just kind of right in.
Yeah. And that's great symbolism. The Russian dolls that inside there's another and another and another. That we're made up of many layers, really, all of us. And ultimately, inside the last doll isn't another doll. It's the light inside the last doll. And as we peel away our layers, we get to that. All right? Please stand for our closing prayer. Nice, huh? Great meditation, great music and accompaniment. Accelerating. Home. The universe contracting. Feel the fear, but go anyway. Not only universally, but your reality, your universe. I can see where I've reached a still point because my former life is not being allowed to expand and control me anymore. My ego isn't expanding, becoming more. I've reached a point where no, and that's stillness. And now I'm also being courageous enough to find out what was always there that I didn't remember. It can only be good. The light of God surrounds us.
We are the light of God.
The love of God enfolds us.
We are the love of God.
The power of God protects us.
We are the power of God.
And the presence of God watches over us.
We are the presence of God.
Wherever we go, God is, I am, we are, and so it is. And just 1 second for our closing gong. You want to hit the gong for us today? You can do it. You can do it. How about you? Come on, man. Good to see you again. All right. Have at it. Thank you. Peace be with you all. We'll see you soon. Thank you.